A couple years ago, I did a video on making a gnocchi rolling paddle. I got most of the way through the process of making a large batch of paddles, but ended up hitting pause on that for over 2 years as other things took precedence. This summer, I finally got time to get back and finish things up, so better late than never. As the holidays are fast approaching, I figured now is the time to get them done. I have these for sale on my website if you're interested, link in the description. The previous paddles I made were from some nice, sawn black walnut from a lumber store. For this batch, I'm using a butternut log from a tree we had cut down up at the cabin that I've had sitting around for close to 10 years now. Butternut is in the same genus as black walnut, and it has a lot of the same characteristics. The wood is very similar, just lighter in color. I start by sawing the log into more manageable pieces. Then I flatten one side of the log so that it will register on my bandsaw's fence. After that, it's just a matter of resawing the log into smaller boards for the paddles. Once sawn, I ran the boards through my old planer to clean them up and get them close to final thickness. I created this template in CAD to assist in making the paddles, which you can download from my website. As I'm making a batch of these paddles, I'm making a plywood template to ensure consistency. The template has center marks for the different curves, which I mark out with an awl. Then, setting the dividers to the correct measurements, I trace the curves. I then used a file to smooth and blend everything. Now it's time to lay out the paddles on the boards I cut earlier, trying to Tetris them in for the highest yield possible. This log had some ant damage, so I'll be filling the voids with epoxy before continuing. I use a torch to pop air bubbles in the epoxy and to get it to flow a little better. After giving the epoxy overnight to cure, I ran the paddles through the planer to clean them up. Here's where the plywood template I made earlier comes in. Using double-sided tape, I adhere the template to the rough paddles and use a pattern bit to trim them to final dimension. process I used for cutting the grooves is a bit different than in the last video I did, where I used my table saw blade tilted at 45 degrees. This time I'll use a V-groove bit on the router table. Using a scrap piece, I check the cut depth and spacing between the grooves before moving on to the real thing. To keep a consistent cut length, I set up a stop. The V-groove bit left some fraying at the bottom of the grooves, so I scraped that out with a sharp chisel. I followed up with a carbide scraper to really get in the grooves and give it a smoother finish. To keep the front edges from splintering, I'm putting on a chamfer. With the major shaping done, I use a sander to clean up and smooth the edges of the paddles. Next is the hanging holes, for which I made a simple jig to perfectly align the holes. After all that is done, I add another small chamfer on the remaining edges and in the hanging hole. With all the cutting and shaping done, I sand everything smooth. As these will come in contact with food, I finish them with food grade mineral oil, which is the same thing that's used on cutting boards. I let these dry for a couple hours, wiped off the excess oil, and then hung them to dry overnight. Oiling the paddles caused the grain to raise in a few spots, so the next morning the last thing to do was lightly sand everything with 320 grit sandpaper. And finally, 2.5 years later, the gnocchi paddles are finished. It was really satisfying to make these out of a piece of wood that probably would have just been firewood, and turn them into something useful. If you're interested, I have these for sale on my website. They'll make great stocking stuffers for the cook in your family. But don't wait, there are only 17 of these, and when they're gone for good. Thanks for following along with this one. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.